Hi guys, it's Becky, and today I want to make a project using the Dollar Bead Box that I got for January. And for a long little while, I was in some other color vibes and wanting to do things with that. But today I am super feeling these soft pinks that came in this box. They're just these beautiful pastel-y pink colors. And so I want to do a project using them. And I also want to use this little heart-shaped toggle clasp that came in it as well, and do a lariat style necklace. And I'm just gonna sketch out kind of what my idea of this is gonna be. It's gonna be an asymmetrical necklace. Part of it will be strung, and that's the part that'll go through the little heart toggle. And then this part I want to do a beaded chain up this side. So we're going to have strung with some beads and things along here. And there's the toggle part of this arrow. I'm going to have that attached with that. And then we've got our little arrow. And attached to that, I want a little chain tassel with these daggers coming down. And that's just my idea of how I kind of want it to go. So let's pull out some beads and start making some links and put things together and see if we can get this to work. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using this check glass heart with this or not. I feel like I might be missing out. I'm going to grab these clear crystally microfaceted beads because they are sparkly and beautiful, and I think they'll go really nicely with these colors. We're pulling these guys out. I'm gonna actually, I think I might use this in a different design at some other point. Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna use this as a clasp in a bracelet. Yeah, we're gonna do a second video and we're gonna do bracelets, and that's gonna be something that we are doing with that because I really want to use this button that came for bracelets. So we'll do a second video, and there's also a ton of blues and some of these others. Maybe we'll make some earrings, but for this we're going to be doing a necklace. So I'm pulling out these guys. I'm going to grab these flower shaped beads here. I'm going to get these guys out of here. What other beads do I want to add to this? That's right, we're going to be using some of these daggers. Not a ton of them. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 should probably be enough for that. And I'm not sure if I want some of these purple beads or not. When we get there, I'll figure that one out. I believe I really want these rainbow iris ones. We're going to toss that in there to add a little bit of interest, visual interest, especially because I want to grab some of these fire polish beads, the rainbow iris fire polish beads, because they've got some pink highlights, and I think that'll go with some of this. And let's also pull out our other ones. Now these fire polish beads came in my Dollar Bead Bag, but all of these other beads came in the Dollar Bead Box and the findings and these. All right, and then these tinier ones. All right, I think this will probably be enough beads. I hope. It's not going to be a super duper long necklace, but it will be long enough. And let's move these guys over here into my little organization bits so that they are accessible but not taking up all of our workspace. Yeah, we're gonna have a nice, soft, romantic pink necklace. I know it's still January, but we are in the second half of January. So we can start thinking a little bit about some Valentine's Day designs and maybe make some stuff with some pretty pinks and all of that. So let's talk about, besides the beads, what else we're going to be using to make this with, because it is going to be partially strung. I will be using some beading wire, and I've just grabbed this satin silver medium beading wire. We'll be using some 2x2 crimps with this, and my very, very favorite for crimping, the magical crimper. So we'll do that when we get to that part of making. I am going to be doing a beaded chain, and because of that, I will be using, there you go, babe. There you go, bud. Go over there. Some wire, and these findings are mostly like stainless steel color. So I grabbed this titanium color of the wire elements. It's 20 gauge. I'm going to need to order some more. We should have enough for me to be able to make half of a necklace with some beaded chain, especially since I'm going to be using simple loops for my links and not wrapped loops. It doesn't take up as much wire for that. And I just wanted to mention, I usually like when I do dead soft wire, I like using the soft flex craft wire. But when I need like a medium temper or half hard wire, I really like the wire elements from Beadsmith. They make them in different tempers, but the ones that come on this spool, these are half hard. They are medium temper, and I like using it. And I especially like that this color goes so well with stainless steel components. It just is cohesive. It's not as bright as like a silver, but it is still shiny. So it goes really well with that. And I just got some stainless steel curb chain, and that's what I'm going to be using to make my tassel. And I think that's what I want to start first, is a little tassel with these guys here and my chain. And I'm not sure if I want to add a bead to the ends of these or not to pull it together. Let me see how this looks with just a jump ring attaching the dagger to my chain versus a little link with a bead attaching it to a chain. So let's see how this looks first, because that will inform us as to what we're doing. Now, some of my other tools that I'll be using are some flush cutters, some round nose pliers, because I like doing simple loops with round nose pliers rather than my bail making pliers. Bail making pliers are great for consistent size loops when you are doing the wrapped loops. They are fantastic for that, and I love it. But I like being able to adjust where I'm curling my wire on my simple loops by sliding up or down the barrel. And that's why I like using these for that type of loop. And I'm trying to find I know they were right here, my chain nose pliers, and they are not super here right now. So let's just grab my tweezer nose pliers, because this is another tool that I like to use often when I'm doing wire working. So there's my tools. We're gonna try doing a very, very small loop with our 20 gauge wire and this check flower bead. And maybe I want to use, instead of this flower bead, maybe I want to use one of these. Yeah, I think this one will be better for like impact wise. It doesn't matter too much. It's just going to be a little more sparkle on it than the flower bead. And I think the flower beads are going to look better in the strung portion of this necklace than they will in here. So I like working out the spool when I'm doing my wrapped loops. Scooch in so we don't have that many distractions. And so for a wrapped loop, and I'm actually going to do or not a wrapped loop, these are simple loops. I'm pressing against this with my finger while I'm curving it in there. And now that I've got this curve, I want to center my loop. So I'm just gonna rotate this down like that. And that gives me more of a centered look. It's more lollipop and less the letter P. That gives me a nice loop there. And then I will cut this for making my other loop. And this loop is going to need to be big enough. Okay, so yeah, that'll work just fine. All right, so for this, I usually measure from the top of the bead to about where my fingernail hits my finger. If I press it against there like that, that gives me about a centimeter of space. You can use a measuring tool to get that same one. But I have found from practice that that will give me about enough room to be able to curl a nice loop on the other side of my chain. And I need to bend this first. And you know what? I should have done that first, honestly, because that's usually how I do it. I bend it and then I measure it. So I'm just going to grab my needle nose pliers. I'm just going to put a little bend right here in this. And now I'm going to roll this up. And we bend it first so that it centers the loop, because it's a little harder to bend it over after you create the loop when there's a bead on it, because you don't want to be breaking that bead. So I'll grab it about somewhere in the middle of here. Again, I can adjust it as I'm going. So that one might be a little bit too big, so I can slide it down. And that gives me a nice little loop. And I'm just going to adjust this so they are the same. This might be a little too much work for you, but I don't even know if this is going to look great for me or not. I'm going to swing this open, put this dagger on the end, and I might need a larger loop is the thing for this dagger. Yeah, the dagger is not going to be on there very easily. So I'm going to make this with a larger loop. All right, a larger loop means going further down the barrel for my first loop. So let's go all the way down here. Just keep rotating it down until it touches the end. Turn this to just below and then have it go back. That's a much bigger loop. I'm going to see how that might be too much of a loop though. I don't know if that's going to look good or not. Let's find out. This might be way too fiddly for me. That's going to move just fine. You know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. We're going to use jump rings. All right. Yeah. This is what we do. We choose to do that instead. I tried it. I'm just not I'm not feeling it, guys. Always reserve the right to change your mind if things aren't working out the way you want them to when you're making things. All right. It's way too fiddly. Too much else going on. And this is going to be a project, but I don't want it to be a project. All right, so we're going to swing open our jump ring, scooch this onto the end of our chain. Put that guy on there, and these are 5mm jump rings that I am using. All right. So now the question is, do I want these to all be the same length, or do I want some different staggered lengths? And I think I might want different staggered lengths. So let me see. I think that might be a good length for my guys. I also, when I do these like things, instead of just cutting all of the chain, I just want to go through one link instead of having 2 links on this for 2 strands. So I'll just cut a longer piece of chain and then go about like halfway through it or something. So let's, and this is the part, this jump ring that I will attach to the other side. All right, so let's just cut this a little bit longer right there. Doesn't need to be super closed because I'm going to be adding more to it. Yeah, just a little bit longer so we've got it staggered. I'm going to cut it right there. Just making our tassel now. Stainless steel chain. Why are you being so difficult on me? These are, what are they called? Memory wire cutters. And this is probably overkill for this chain, but it's doing the job. All right. So there we go. I wanted it to be a little more staggered than that. That's okay, because I can just cut this one shorter. Yeah. The other one's the long one. Perfect. And now I'm going to add another dagger to that one, and then we'll do another little length of chain. Where's my opening? There we go. That one's going to be easier to open because it is a wonky jump ring to begin with. That will work for me. All right, so now we've got this other end of the chain. Is this too fiddly? Maybe. We're just making a tassel. That's all we're doing. We're just making tassels. All right. So there's my first 2 strands of chain on my tassel. Let's grab another jump ring, attach it to the end of this chain, put a dagger on it. I am going out of camera view. I apologize for that. Stay in here so we see what we're doing. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go. These small links. Sometimes hard to like see to get stuff into them. figure out where we want that one to dangle from. Is this one going to be a little bit longer? Maybe that one will be a little bit longer. Just a little bit. Right there. Come on, buddy. All right. And now we will, I'm just closing it again so that it doesn't slide off while I'm working on it. But not super securely. Maybe we'll cut that one there. Yeah, that one might work. Ooh. Oh no. Natalie sees somebody being in their yard. She's got to shout about it. Sorry about that, guys. Ugh. Natalie, they can be in their yard. That's theirs. Just because you can see somebody doesn't mean you got to yell at them. It's okay. She's such a scary dog. She's not that scary. But she likes to sound like she's scary, just in case. Right. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to do the rest of these exactly the same way I did these two. And I will join you back here when my tassel is done. All right. All right, so I've added most of my daggers to my jump ring for my tassel. Because I chose to use an odd number of daggers, I had to cut a shorter piece of chain for my last one. So I went ahead and attached my dagger to that. And I'm going to open up my jump ring to attach this last chain to it. And while it's open, I'm also going to attach it to my little key right here. This is the toggle and the toggle clasp, but we're not actually going to be using it for a toggle clasp. It's just going to be part of our Lariat necklace. And there we go. So it's all different lengths. It should give it some nice movement when you're wearing it. And I'm going to attach this right here to this part of my toggle, because we're going to attach the necklace to the open heart on the end. So it's going to make this a really fun component for that. So it'll hold it like this, and then this will just swing from there. You know, I could have maybe done... I'm changing my mind again. Changing my mind again. I'm going to do a link. I'm going to use this lampwork bead in there, and one end of the link will have the chains on it. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and leave it attached to the jump ring for that, because they're already on there and I don't want to have to string them onto another loop. So I'm going to pull this off of there because I just changed my mind again. Let's close this sucker up. Let's grab a couple of these flowery guys here. Because this is a fairly large hole, I'm going to have them sitting on either side of the hole when I make my little link. All right, and this is why I like to put the beads on first, because then I can do one loop and then hold it up to the loop and see how much of the wire I can cut off. So we're going to put these guys on there like this. going to double check that this end is flush. And use my scooch so we're in the actual camera range. I'm going to go ahead and do my simple loop the way I like to, make my little P or Q, depending on how you look at it. Straighten that out. I push my beads up to the end. That tells me that I can cut it off about 1.5 fingers away from there. It's going to probably be less space that I need for that, but that way I can hold it. And do I have enough leverage for this? No. Let's go ahead and bend it. So I bend it after I make the loop when I do my first loop, and I bend it before I make the loop when I do my second one. It's just works better that way. Okay, so now I can press this against the bead, and that is pretty far away from that bead, so I'm going to actually cut it right there, eyeballing it. Let's use the right pliers for this. We want our round nose pliers, not our needle nose pliers, because this won't make a very good loop. I'm just telling you from experience, it will not. This one will make a great loop because it's round and loops are round. So I'm just rolling this up along here till we get it, and it is going sideways. So let's straighten you out a little bit. That is not very straight, she said. That's fine. All right. So now I've got a loop on both ends. I'm going to attach one end of this loop to my, where'd they go? There it is. My little tassel. Buddy friend, what are you doing? All right, one end to the tassel. Close that up. Yeah, that's going to be a much better balance for that, I think. And then we're going to attach that there. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I feel so much better. It was not balanced right. It wasn't doing great for me. All right. So after I get this attached, I'm going to set this aside, and we are going to look at the links that I'm going to make for the beaded chain portion of the necklace. What I decide to do for that. Let's do it this way, actually. There we go. Love it. I love it. It's been a while since I did like a beaded chain necklace. I've been doing a lot of stringing type projects, and I'm ready for some wire working. Look how great that looks. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to set my guy aside. This is going to be attached to the strung portion of the necklace. So I'm going to set this aside because we're not going to use it yet, not until the very end. And we're not going to be using this guy until it comes time to put together the chain. And the first part is going to be making my links. So sticking that guy aside, moving him out of the way, and let's pull out some of these other beads, because I think the way I want it to work is, again, these little flowery shaped guys. One of these microfaceted crystal beads, one of my rainbow AB beads with 2 of the little 3mm fire polish beads. I'm going to be using the 4mm fire polish beads on the stringing section, as well as these little beads. So I'm not going to be putting them on my what is it called? You know, the side of the thing where I do the beaded chain. So that's going to be sort of the way the links will go, and we'll just alternate them. And before I start, I just want to make sure that these 3mm beads are going to fit on this 20 gauge wire, and they will. Yeah, because otherwise I might have to switch different wire, but they are going to fit just great. And here we go. It looks like a candy in a candy wrapper, and I love that for this. I love that because that is a really, really fun look for us. So I'm going to be making several of these links. I won't make all of them on camera with you, but I am going to do a couple. And again, they're going to be simple loop links. Slide this guy off, figure out where I need to cut this. And then we're going to bend them over. Make our second loop, do a cut and then make our second loop. All right, bend that guy over there. And see where it's pressed against my finger. I've got enough room for that. And that's the spot that I'm going to cut it. It's just from practice. That's where I know that that's going to give me a decent swirl area for my simple loop to come back here. That's one simple loop link, and I'm going to make my second one on camera, and I'm just going to make just this 2 type of link, just the 2 of them. I'll make a whole bunch and then I'll come back and we'll put it together at that point. But I just want to finish making this one other link on camera with y'all before I go out and do a little bit more. There we go. So I like the way that those beads look together on my chain, or on my wire. So it should look good as a chain together. And if this doesn't meet all the way, you can bend it again after, or keep going around again some more after you do that bend to get it looking nice. Hey, where's my last bead? There it is. All right, so it's about a finger's width that I judge for cutting that off. That way I don't have too much excess when I cut off my extra. Let's make a little bend over here. Cut this guy off there. Why are you being this way? Let's see there, that's a little bit too much of a loop. So I'm sliding down a little farther on my round nose pliers so that I can still make a smaller loop. There we go. Loop, loop, loop. And if you want to make, there are tips and tricks for making both of these the same, like measuring things, putting the right mark on this. But I'm fine with the loops being a little bit, nobody's going to be looking at it that closely. And then we're going to join them together and we're going to have a nice little chain on one side of our necklace. So let me make my links and we will come back. All right, so I made all of my links and I linked most of them together. I made 8 total of my little candy wrapper links, and I made 7 total of my little fire polish links. And then I just linked them together by when I got to the last link in the chain, I just swung it open like that, popped on my next link, closed it, whoop, and then you move over here to the next one. It's right there at the end. You swing it open, pop your next link on, and close it. It's pretty quick once you've got your links made to assemble it and put it together. And now on this end, I'm going to attach to this link my heart. And this is double-sided, so it doesn't matter which side is facing and which way it goes when we put it together. All right, so this is the first part of my Lariat necklace done. Just referring back to our drawing, that's this little bit. And now for this part, I'm going to be stringing on some beads. And my intention with this was to take the same colors and same vibe that I got on this side and echo it on the strung side. So I've got my little pink beads here, and so I'm going to grab these 4mm fire polish beads, these pink ones, and that's going to be on the strung side. And then to echo the rainbow iris coating that we have on these fire polish beads, I'm just going to use these rainbow iris drucks, these little guys. And then to echo the crystal, the sparkly clear crystal over here, I went into my bead stash and I grabbed some clear silver lined 8/0 seed beads. So all of these together, strung on some wire, should give us a nice echo on the other side of our asymmetrical necklace. So I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave my wire on the spool and just keep beading until I get to the length that I want. The most important part of this is that when this is attached here, the length of my strung section combined with this, when it's at its longest, should fit over my head. That's the only constraint. Because it's going to be a claspless necklace, it does need to, at its widest, fit over your head. It could be longer than that, but not shorter. So I'm just going to pop, let's see, 3 of these on here. And 1 pink bead. And then 1 of these. A round druck. And I haven't laid these out to see how I like it. I may change my mind in a minute, but I think 1 of these, and then another pink bead, and then 3 more of these. It's a little more complicated than just one or the other, or separate by 3 beads, but it moves the pink beads a little bit closer to those. And it also kind of makes those pink beads the star of the show. But we are still including these other guys in here, and it makes our seed beads kind of our background, our chorus. We've got our supporting actor. There we go. So that's 2 full repeats of that. I think that that is going to look pretty cool on the opposite side of this. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with kind of this guy in the middle, and then some clearer beads, and then pink, and then 3 of the clear seed beads to separate that repeat. So 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. And then 3 of these. Means I've got 2 pink beads for every of the rainbow iris bead that I put on here. Yep, that's going to be nice and pretty. And again, these pink beads were from the Dollar Bead Bag, which is an add-on. When you subscribe to the Dollar Bead Box, you get 8 strands of fire polish beads for like $8. To me, it was a no-brainer. When I went to subscribe, I was like, well, I really like having these extra beads. And they always coordinate with the Dollar Bead Box things. Bloop, bloop, bloop. This is not going to take very long for me to get a decent amount of length on here. Let's put a purple guy on there. Haven't had a purple guy on here. There we go. You know what I forgot to do? Forgot to get my my little seed bead there between them. I was so busy thinking about getting that purple one on there that I forgot there should be a spacer between that and our pink guy. All right. I could probably do some of this. I probably could have strung the whole thing without these seed beads, but I really wanted that like crystally color that I have by using these to also be on this other side. So that's why I added them. And they did not come. Why? Hold on. Okay. Did I do this right? Those are all there. Those are all there. Those are all there. Those are all there. Okay. Yes, I'm at the right place. All right. And maybe one of these kind of brown guys. Yay. I'm just having fun picking colors out of this little bead mix, and I'm going to have a bunch of beads left over from this that I can use in other projects too. I'm not using all of these, each of these colors or each of these beads. I may end up using quite a bit more of these pink beads than some of the others, but that is to be expected with the ratio that I've got going on here. All right, let's get all these guys. I hope y'all are staying warm, being cozy. We're having weather here. It's been nice. We haven't lost power yet, knock on wood. That tends to happen sometimes here in Texas with our weather. And I think actually if this gets to be about the same length, that might be good. Let's find out. Let's see how it goes. I was just checking my length next to that one. Why are you in weird places? There we go. That's much better. That's a much better place for it. All right, and then green. Let's pop one of these green boys on there. Yep. Green. And this one. And 1, 2, 3. Pink. Bloop. Another purple guy. One of these. There we go. This is actually going quite quickly, which I am excited about because I have already spent quite a bit of time on the other components, and bead stringing can be just real relaxing, especially if you make it meditative. And I'm adding a little bit of interest by picking different colors out of my little pot here. I think I want one of these. It's not really yellow, but it's a little bit on the bronze side of the color scheme. Did I say scream? Scheme. There you go. I mean, you can have a color scheme if you want. Like, you could go out in your yard and just be like, yellow! no, but your neighbors might look at you weird. And, you know, if you're fine with that, then go ahead. I am not going to be yelling yellow out, although my neighbors are already kind of used to me yelling weird things at my dogs. You know, when it is the summertime, I usually yell, donate frogs at Ellen when she goes outside, because she loves to try to eat frogs. Alright, so are you almost done? Long enough? Almost. Just a little bit more. Let me grab a couple more of my pink guys down here. And some more of my seed beads. Now I have like just a plethora of these seed beads. I'm just gonna show you where I pulled this out from. It's this little bag here because I do, I'm a knitter too, in addition to doing jewelry. One of my favorite things to make and to knit is a beaded lace. And so I have a ton of these 8/0s because when I bead lace weight yarn, I like to use 8/0s for that. And these clear crystal, the silver lined ones, they really pop against like darker yarns. They look really good like that. So I use those. I use 6/0s for like fingering weight and others. So I was like, you know what? I've got some of these just sitting here waiting to be put on a shawl. I'm gonna put it on a necklace instead. It's pretty fun. And dark blue. Let's go for dark blue. Come on. I like that one. I like that one. Blue, blue, blue. But of course, I skipped my little seed bead spacer. So let's correct our mistakes as soon as we make them, or you know, as soon as we notice anyway. All right, I'm just gonna do a real quick comparison for my length here. A little bit longer. I've got about that much more. That's about 2 repeats. Okay, so 2 more repeats. And then that's probably going to be long enough for this side. There's a reddish one in here. Let's pop that guy on here. That's kind of cool. All right. And look, I have 2 of these guys left over from my beaded chain. I'm going to make some earrings with those, I think. Probably not on this video, because there are some other things that I want to do with that box. We'll do some actual earrings, and I will make something to go with this during that project. We'll just do some earrings and probably some bracelets. I really want to do some bracelets. I've been doing a lot of necklaces lately, and I'd like to do some bracelets. I really like doing those. All right, so that's my 1 more repeat. Let's finish it up with 3 more seed beads. Bloop, bloop, bloop. All right. And that is probably going to be long enough for this. Yep, it'll fit over the head. All right, so since this end is still attached to my thing, I'm going to attach this side to my little jellyfish friend over here. He looks exactly like a jellyfish, doesn't he? And I'm going to attach to this heart. So let me grab some crimps and my magical crimper. We'll get this attached, and then we will get the other end attached to the chain, and that will be it. We will have a whole necklace when we do that. All right, so In order to attach this to my jellyfish, I'm going to slide my crimp bead on here. Put this through my heart on the key. Go back through my crimp bead with my wire. And I think I'm going to go through those 8 as well. That should be fun. All right. Let's tighten that up a little bit. Make sure I have some space there so I don't crush my 8s. And I'm going to do some crimping now. I love my magical crimper because it makes a nice round crimp bead, and I don't have to use crimp covers. It's also a little bit easier for me to do than others because I'm just not good at the taco method. And every time I try to close a crimp bead just with my pliers, I end up having a crimp that does not hold. And then whatever I've made breaks apart on me. And I'll go into a little more detail when we get to the other side. But see, it makes a nice little crimp bead. I'm going to cut off my excess right here next to this 8. I'm going to slide these beads up along there. I'm going to cut off enough excess here to be able to bend it back and do a crimp on that side. All right. And scoot you guys out of the way. I'm going to just go through my little heart here before I attach this to the end of my chain. I mean, you can do it afterwards, but like it involves topography, and it's just going to be easier for me this way. So now that I've got this end over here, I want to attach it to this chain. I could just attach it directly to the chain here, but instead I just grabbed one of these closed jump rings instead, and I'll attach the chain to that, and I'll attach my wire to that. So where is my crimp? I know I'm missing something, so I'm going to attach it to this, and then we'll attach our chain to the other side. But this will be a little bit easier too for me to show you my crimping because I won't have this getting in the way while I'm spinning it around. All right, so I've got my crimp on here. I'm going to put it through this loop on this closed ring. Feed my wire back through my crimp. And if it fits through these 3 seed beads, it's entirely possible that it won't fit through one of these. Maybe it's got, nope, that seed bead does not have the clearance for that. That's fine, it doesn't need to. Scooch this all the way down here. And I don't want this to be stiff, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of coil up my necklace here so that when I'm done crimping, there will still be some movement. I do want to kind of close up my loop up here a little bit, have that be a little bit smaller, and see how there's some space between this bead and the crimp. I want that because I don't want to crush my bead with my crimp. So with this, it's got this concavity. So when you go and do your first squeeze, and this only works on 2x2 crimp tubes, it makes it kind of like a ravioli. You've got these pointy edges. So then if you just turn it and squeeze it from another angle, and then turn it and squeeze it from another angle, and turn it and squeeze it from another angle, and keep going around, and you can kind of feel when it stops resisting it. By turning it and going at it from all those different angles, it smooths out those rough edges, and you have a nice solid crimp that is not going anywhere. And like I said, you don't have to mess with crimp covers because that's something else that I'm not good at. Crimp covers are just terrible. They always end up weird for me, but that's why I like using these crimps and that type. Like it opened up so many possibilities for me when I learned how to do these. I stress out a lot less when I'm making jewelry. All right, so I'm going to swing this open, attach it to this little closed jump ring that I had attached my other bit to, and now I have kind of a lariat style necklace. I'm just going to double check that this will actually fit over my head. Yes, perfect. And then you can adjust your length while you're wearing it, but let me take it off. All right. So I wasn't ready for the whole, I mean, it kind of catches on that at the bottom like that, which kind of is cool. But if I wanted to adjust the length, we'll just stick that key back in there. And you can adjust it there that way. But I am actually really happy with this softly romantic kind of necklace that I was able to make using our Dollar Bead Box for January. So check that out. Yeah. All right, my first like heart-shaped things of the year. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you maybe learned some things. Maybe you got some inspiration. If you want to subscribe to the Dollar Bead Box, there will be a link in the description, and there is a coupon code you can use for $2 off your order. Thanks. Bye.